Welcome to the show. My name is Jeremy Poole, and I'm the host of The Moment on Real Estate Social, where we explore and celebrate the necessary transformational process one must go through to achieve a very high level of success. Today, we have the great pleasure of hanging out with Thach Nguyen of Thach Real Estate Group. This is a great honor for me. Right now, we're in Bellevue, Washington at the Hyatt, and I've been doing this now for a few months, and since I got started in April, I knew that I wanted to do an interview with Thach. This is actually our second time meeting in person, but I've been watching him for a while. Everybody in the space of real estate in this area, in the Seattle Bellevue market, knows this guy, knows the stuff. He's a very genuine individual. I'm just very, very honored to have the opportunity to interview you in person. So welcome to the show, Thach.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. Okay. Thach, as you know, the show's called The Moment.
Yes.
I know you've had a lot of moments, but walk us through your crazy journey of success from the time that you left Vietnam, correct?
Yes.
And you came to the U.S.
Yep.
and you set your eyes on a golden prize, and you took it.
Yeah.
So walk us through how you came here poor, which a lot of people would have allowed that to break them.
Yep.
But you decided, you know what, I'm better than that. I want more. And I'm going for it.
Yeah.
Walk us through it.
It's great, man. This whole thing called The Moment, because I'm a big believer that, you know, everyone's on a journey.
Yes.
And they all walking, hopefully, forward.
Yep.
Every benchmark, every milestone is a moment.
Yeah.
The question is what you do with those moments.
Yeah.
So my whole journey started, I was born in Vietnam in 1970. My dad worked for the U.S. military. And my dad got a phone call one day. He says that to my mom, pack your bag and get the kids. I'm coming home. I'm going to get you guys because we just got word that the Vietnamese communists is going to take over South Vietnam.
That's scary.
And the military, U.S. military is pulling out. And so we're going to leave with them on the last plane.
Yeah.
So I'll be home, come get you guys. So my mom packed up one suitcase. We had like $100 for the whole entire family. And my dad came home and picked us up, drove us to the airport. It's like a 7-8 hour drive to the airport.
Wow.
On our way to the airport, we blew 2 tires on the car.
Oh my God.
By the time we found a way how to fix it, we got to the airport and we actually missed the plane.
Whew.
So you think about it, that's a moment.
That's a moment in itself.
That's a moment in itself on this journey. And of course, there's many moments all the way till I am today.
Yeah.
So do you, so everyone else, right? So my dad, of course, was committed on getting us into the U.S., get out of there, because if you work for the U.S. and you're Vietnamese, you're pretty much gonna die.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't living.
No.
So my dad got a hold of his boss. His boss finally answered and says, meet me at this destination at this time tomorrow morning, and we're gonna get you guys out on one more plane because the rest of us is leaving out of that airplane.
Yeah.
We got this hotel my dad put us in, and he stayed up all night sleeping in the Jeep because he didn't want nobody to steal his Jeep.
Yeah.
And like 7 o'clock in the morning, we got everybody together. We drove out to this location. When we got there, there was a big U-Haul truck. Like, we got everybody in there, including some other family. And then the door shut. We driving down because the whole time the city did not know that U.S. is pulling out.
Really?
They all still think that, you know, they're still fighting a war.
Sure.
We get to the airport, open the door, and literally chaos everywhere around the airport. People running around trying to get on this last plane. Finally, we got all the paperwork. We left, flew out of the plane, and we landed in San Diego.
Okay.
When we got there, they used Camp Pennington as the shelter for all the refugees.
I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
When we stayed down there, Governor Evans from U.S., from the Seattle, says, let's help migrate some of the refugees up to Washington.
Sure.
We were one of the first 500 families that left. We were the first family to actually step foot on the ground of Camp Murray in Tacoma.
Wow.
So it was written up in the newspaper. I got the newspaper article and everything at home.
That's cool.
And when we were there for about 2 or 3 months. And then finally, a gentleman named Charles Zettler and his mom sponsor our family out of the shelter to go live with them.
Wow.
He was volunteering there. We lived there, and then my dad finally got a job up in Rainier Valley as a custodian. And Charles' mom, who was like in her 60s, used to drive my dad every day into Seattle, drop him off, drive back home, and at 5 o'clock she'd drive back out to Seattle, pick him up, drive back home.
Yeah.
Every day, man, for like 6 months.
Jeez.
You know, and so you think about it, that's another moment which I didn't realize, but that was a moment of what I call contribution.
Absolutely.
You see, they didn't even know us, but for them to go this far.
Above and beyond.
See what I mean?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So when I go out there and speak to people, I ask people, how many of all of us out there really living a life of contribution like that?
Sure.
And so finally my dad got his own car. We moved up to South Seattle, and I lived there, grew up like a regular kid. And I graduated from Franklin High School in '88. And then I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I went and I followed my older brother's footstep to aviation school, got my A&P mechanic license. In '91, I really wasn't inspired to do mechanic, but I accidentally fell into real estate. Some friend told me about I should go sell real estate, and I went and got my license. I was 21 years old, and then I passed my license, and I remember going down to the Windermere office down in Sewell Park, where I grew up at, and the manager looked at me and says, "You're 21 years old. The youngest agent in Washington State is 35 years old.
Really?
What make you think you can make it? And then how are you going to contribute to my office?"
Sure, sure.
And I don't know where it came from, but I was like, my dad's a social worker. He helped a lot of the Vietnamese family, a lot of the Asian families in Seattle know him. That's where I'm going to get my business from. And you should hire me because what I heard is I pay you, now you don't pay me, and for everything I make, you get money.
Right,
so you got nothing to lose hiring me.
Sure.
And the guy hired me, and he says, he never told me that until later on, but he hired me on that. And then the first 3 years, I didn't do much business. But then I met a guy named Mike Ferry.
Okay. And I think everybody
knows Mike Ferry, right?
Right.
Everybody knows Mike Ferry. You know, he's a big prop to Mike because he's the one who got me started.
That's awesome.
He had me study some scripts. Then he said, you want to go out there and be successful? There's 3 ways. One, you can wait for the business to come to you by marketing.
Yep.
2, you can go out there and find the business.
Okay.
Right? And so I didn't want to wait because I didn't have the money.
Yeah.
So he said, if you're going to go find it, you got to go out there and knock on doors.
Okay.
And so I decided to take the script. I memorized these scripts, internalized it. I made 100 flyers. And in 1994, when he started coaching me, I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to make 100 flyers. I'm going to door knock 100 doors. I'm going to hit the door at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to knock on until I hit 100 doors. Wow. And when I get done, then I go back. And in the afternoon, I'll go do all my appointments.
Wow.
So every morning at 9 o'clock, I get dropped off on the street by my wife, and I said, take off. I'll call you when I get done. So I'll get done about 5 hours, about 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
She come pick me up, we'll go eat lunch, and then she hand me all my appointment in the afternoon, and I go see someone 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night, and I did that every day of my schedule for 10 years straight.
10 years straight.
10 years straight.
Commitment, discipline. And I would imagine probably around year 1, you're making a very nice income.
Well, my first 3 years, I was only doing about maybe 5 deals a year.
Okay.
You know, before Mike. So I got in bid in 91, 3, 4 deals, 92, 3, 4. When I met Mike in 1994, 3 years later, 1997, at the age of 27, I was already a millionaire. I was making almost $1 million a year doing.
At the age of 27, you're already a millionaire.
Yeah.
Which was probably
First of all, in 1997, for anyone to make that kind of money
is insane.
In Seattle, working in Rainier Valley.
Wow.
I mean, that's like, that's like, wow.
That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's
right now in this market,
even this market,
is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
And I know.
And that's not even a whole team. That's just me and an assistant.
Jeez.
You see, and there's a lot of things that came along with that. That of course, today that's why I teach a lot of H in this. What came along with that was big ego.
Okay.
For me. What came along with that was arrogant. What came along with me was I was spending my money versus saving my money and investing my money.
Yep.
Right? So a lot of that came along with it. I didn't realize it. But what happened was 1997, I was making a lot of money. I was, on all the panels and TVs and you name it. I was all there.
It's the Thach show.
It's the Thach thing, right? It's the Thach thing. Yeah. And then, man, I was on what I call a train I was about to wreck.
Okay.
Because I couldn't handle success.
Yeah.
Because no one's around me was telling me, you know what I mean?
Right. Just kind of keep you grounded, understand exactly
keep me grounded.
what's happening. Yeah.
Other than my wife at the time, but I wasn't listening, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then in 1997, was my first true moment in life.
Okay.
I sold a house to this guy and in 1995. And then 2 years later, I get a visit from a gentleman and this lady. They came to my office, and they said to me, "Can I speak to you privately in the office?" They came in and they whip out their wallet and said, "My name is blank. I'm from FBI. This is blank blank from IRS.
Wow.
And we're here because we believe that you sold a house to a drug dealer."
Wow.
And in the federal court system, that's called conspiracy, money laundering, and that's 15 years in the penitentiary.
Wow.
And in that moment, I already had probably $5-6 million in the bank.
In the bank.
In the bank. And now I was 27, 28.
Wow.
Right? So, here I am. My ego was blown out of proportion. Sure. Right? I thought I was, like the man, everything, right?
Yeah, right.
And they heard this moment. And then for 2 years, man, they tapped my phone. They had my wife Cammie go to the grand jury, and they was torturing her. And for 2 years, I was fighting for my freedom. And I remember they said, "We're gonna come and indict you on this day," which is like 2 days after the 4th. And I remember going to Vancouver with Cammie, and I was like, "We gotta go and strategize."
Yeah.
And in that moment, also again, I decided the only way I can get free from this whole fear, because the fear was running me.
Right. I'd imagine you wake up with it.
You wake up with it, you go to sleep with it, you do everything. You know what I mean? You're trapped.
Yeah.
You basically, I was in prison,
Absolutely.
but I wasn't in prison.
Absolutely.
I was in a mental
no joy,
prison.
'cause
None.
Anything that you liked or probably short-lived.
Because it's like cancer.
Right.
You're going.
Yeah.
And so I decided to go to Vancouver with Cammie, and I didn't realize the process I took myself through, but I took myself through the process called the worst case scenario.
Right.
And I said to myself, "Honey, let's talk about the worst case scenario.
Sure.
If the worst case scenario comes that I'm gonna get indicted, what are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
So we walked through everything from as simple as, if I go, all these rental properties we own together, I'm gonna basically sign over the power of attorney. You can sell it whenever you need to sell it.
Sure.
If time come, push come, you gotta get the money, you need to sell it.
Yeah.
To, if you're gonna come visit me, you should bring my mom and dad with you so they come visit me.
Yeah.
All the way down, man, to the, if you don't want to wait until I get out of prison,
Wow.
and you need to go and be with somebody else,
You had to have that conversation.
you should have the right to leave.
Wow. That's
That's a big one, dude.
huge one.
Because that's really where all the fear lives. And you can imagine sitting there discussing all this and even saying, if you got to go, you should do it.
To know that that's a real possibility. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm sure in that moment she's thinking, "Oh, absolutely. I would never do that to you." But
That's right.
5, 10, 15 years goes by.
That's right. So to me, when people are in fear and they can't move forward on whatever fear they have, I would bet $1 million they have not really took themselves to the worst case scenario.
Right.
Because once you're there,
Yeah.
you're here. Now everything from there up is all possibility.
Right. No, that's brilliant right there, because if you have the ability to withstand and take the worst case scenario,
Worst case scenario.
there's really nothing to fear.
There's
beyond
nothing to
that.
fear in else.
Right.
I mean, everything from there now is forward.
Forward.
But you gotta go down there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
I like
don't
that.
want to go there. To me, the hardest thing was the thing that was down there.
Right.
If I don't make it out,
Right.
just know I love you.
Yeah.
If you don't need to wait, you should go.
Sure. Sure.
That's the thing nobody want to get to.
No.
So when anyone's gonna have fear in business or whatever it is, I can guarantee you nobody want to go down there.
Right.
That's the real place that they
Sure.
got to go and zap.
Sure.
So after that, man, I made that commitment, and I don't know what it was. The next day, which is a Monday, I was supposed to get picked up from the feds. They didn't come.
Wow.
A week later, they didn't come. 4 or 5 weeks later, they didn't come.
Which is probably the worst part, right? Because I mean, I could be free.
That's right.
I could be caged. What's it gonna be?
But you know what's a trip? For me, I realized I just beat them.
You did.
Because at that time I was studying spiritual.
Yeah.
The universe, law of
I
attraction,
was just
everything.
gonna say that.
And I realized with that, what I call in the world releasing.
Sure.
I release all fear. Now I'm not actually attracting anymore. After about a month, I didn't hear from them.
Yeah.
I knew the universe has actually answered my intention.
Love it.
And from that moment forward, I just took off, and then that's when I knew the power of accepting worst case scenario.
Yep.
And the power of clear focus on where you want to go.
Because if you can accept it,
Yes,
there's so much power.
there's so
from
much
that.
power.
There's
That's
so much
where
power
all the
because
power lies.
Most people are trying to run from
right.
pain,
That's
running
right.
from pain. But if you say, okay, that's probably going to be painful, but then you approach it, you go up to it, you face it.
That's right.
Then I feel the universe begins to conspire for you.
So here's how I say it. If you're fearing it, unconsciously, you're still attracting it.
Okay, yeah.
So when I say to people, go and accept it, that doesn't mean you're going to go accept it so you're going to attract
And lay
it.
down, right.
You're going there to face it, deal with it, and then you're cutting
Absolutely.
the cord.
Yep, yep,
And when you cut the cord, now the only thing you have now is where you need to go.
yes.
Everybody, right, go where they want to go, what they want to have, what they want to do, what they want to experience.
Right.
And the reason why I believe people don't experience it and have it, because they still have fear that they're still focusing on it unconsciously versus
Sure.
what they want. Because once you
Sure.
cut it,
Sure.
you got nothing to fear no more. All you
Nothing.
got is up.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's fantastic. Honestly, Thach, doing this interview, doing what we're doing here right now, at one point in time for me was scary.
Yeah.
I never saw myself being on camera or anything like that or talking in front of people, but I wanted to.
That's right.
I wanted to. And I think once you do the thing that you're afraid of, what you realize is just how powerful and magnificent not only you are, but life is. And I think so often as human beings, it's so easy because our brains are primitive in the sense that we want to protect ourselves. We don't want to experience pain. We don't realize that everything beautiful that's in our life came from doing the thing you didn't want to do.
I said yesterday on my Instagram, I said, today I appreciate all the breakdowns, all the adversity, all the upset, all the disappointment, all the frustration. I appreciate all that because all that is where I actually learn everything I'm saying to you today.
And that's what this show is all about, folks, is the moment. See, I knew this interview was going to be fantastic because this show is about the moment.
That's it.
I think that I view the real estate industry as nothing more than a viable platform for you to accomplish your goals.
That's it.
And if you want to accomplish your goals, you have to go through a forging process. You got to get pounded from iron into steel.
That's right.
And I think very often too many people dance around the hot iron and they aren't willing to jump into the hot iron, get burned, and get pounded, burned and pounded, and then eventually you can
to me, the real estate business, the loan business, being a parent is just a vehicle to an end.
Yes, yes.
It's who you are and who you becoming in this journey. It's what's going to create the experience of this real estate vehicle to be abundance and joy and excitement, or frustrated, angry, and disappointment.
That's it. That's it right there. Is which one? It's going to be one of the other.
It's going to be one or the other. But you know what's interesting is you get to actually dictate it.
You do every moment. And that's it, man. I'm so happy having this conversation on this camera right now because that's it. I really believe in that philosophy. It's your choice. Are you going to feed fear or are you going to feed faith?
That's right.
You're going to feed one of them.
That's right.
And if you feed faith, it's crazy. The right people, the right circumstances, which is a perfect segue into talk to us about fuck how.
That's right. Yeah. And before I say that, I want to just say one last word.
Okay.
When you're going through breakdown, when you're going through adversity,
talk to them.
When you're going through frustration, I want you to reframe it and say, man, if breakdown's here, that means breakthrough's coming around the corner. So every time you got a breakthrough, every time you got to break down, just know you're thinking big.
Right.
That's why you're having a breakdown in the first place.
That's it.
Because if you ain't breaking down, you're thinking too small anyway because you're inside your box.
That's right.
So you're thinking big, you got to go through breakdown. And if you're going through breakdown, just know that breakthrough is around the corner because every time there's a breakthrough, there's a breakdown right before it. So you need to reframe and go, oh yeah, some good's coming around the corner. And if you reframe it like that, then you know it's all good.
Once again, you were right on the money. We were just having this conversation. I was just talking to Isaac about this, Isaac Stegman. And my formula for picking the next thing for me, the next project, the next big thing is this. Do I really want to do it? Does it get me excited? And am I afraid to do it?
That's right.
Because if I'm excited about it and I'm afraid to do it, it's for me.
That's right.
It's for me, because that means I haven't evolved enough for it not to be
That's right.
scary for me.
That's right.
And so in this business, I'm constantly looking for that project that's not only sexy and attractive, but does that scare me?
Yeah.
If it scares me, I do it.
Yeah. Again, if it's scary, that means you move it out of the box.
Yes,
Which
for
is
you.
For you.
Right.
Which is beautiful. So which lead to, what does PHUKHAU means? Right?
And that brings us to the end of part 1 of a 2-part interview series. We'll see you again next week.